Alright, we are recording, and I didn't mean to be in Just Cause 2. Going Medieval, which is one of the early access games that I reviewed when it first entered early access, got a major update, Update 4, adding animal husbandry. I'm actually kind of interested in doing that. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, OBS does not want to hook into it. It won't hook into it as a game hook. I tried Window, and it wasn't working there either. I have no idea. I really don't. Yeah, that's all I got. It's also kind of annoying because that's kind of the main thing that I wanted to talk about. Oh well. I got two other things I can talk about there. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna keep doing these missions. The ones to gain the stronghold. Yeah. Yeah, so as I said, let's mostly talk about that. Going Medieval got a major update 4, which adds animal husbandry. So any animal in the game currently, and it kept saying in the game currently, so I have a feeling that say, yeah, we're gonna change that so you can't just, tame and make pets of the rats. But it still is, that is a good thing to see, in my opinion, and for more than one reason. Not just the whole, oh, this is such a neat feature, but also... Hang on, where's north on... Oh, there it is, okay. Because I realized I don't have the marker. It's about like this. No, I am far. Whoop. So there's that, but it's also in order to put animal husbandry, well, anything that it would be that complex into the game, they'd have to think about it a fair amount. So it's one of those, there would have to be much more development into the various systems that are tied there. For example, one thing that I was not super convinced by, at least in one times I was playing Going Medieval, was that new animals spawned. It seemed like it was fixed. And considering that's how you got leather, that's how you got a lot of meat, that really seemed like a problem. So, yeah. Yeah, they also added a bunch of animals. So there's the wolves and the deer that have always been in the game. But now there's rats, chickens, goats, cows, foxes. There were also rabbits that were originally in the game as well. Those would be there too. Dogs. And any of them you can try to tame. If you really fail at taming, they may attack you. But, is what it is. I'm just going by memory because I didn't make notes of this. I thought I'd be playing the game. One thing to note, this update is so significant, all prior saves don't work. You would have to load up the legacy experimental branch, technically it's just legacy branch, on Steam. So that's, you right click, go to properties, and branches is one of the tabs for the game's property. But yeah, so you can first domesticate them, which happens after you tame them, and it takes multiple attempts to tame. It builds up until you finally reach domesticated, and at that point, once they are domesticated, you are they'll just be in your settlement, hanging out, eating your food. They won't go inside if the doors are locked, but at that point it would be they're domesticated, so you can slaughter them is an option. And I'm sure, also harvest things like wool from the sheep. Also milk from the goats and cows. Eggs from the chicken. All that stuff. And you can also continue to tame them to make them into pets. Which, I'm trying to remember what all was there. will be able to enter doors that are not locked. So they can't open locked doors, but if the door is just closed, so it's not set to always open, it can open them. I want to grab a military helicopter over there and then come back and take out those windmills. Hey, they count for chaos. The other thing with once they're pets is you can then, when enemies attack, they actually, depending on what animal it is, they will attack the enemy. Was it also pets? I don't remember if it was you need to be at pet, or if it was just domesticated was enough for them to start hauling materials for you as well, which is pretty neat. There we go. Can let me do this, or there. You can draw the glasses and mustaches on those. The only other thing, two things I've got are certainly interesting, and there's actually a third that I can also talk about. I don't have it in my notes, but I remember. No, the two things were apparently, I didn't realize. I'm sorry, I don't follow the console news that closely. But apparently there was some PlayStation event, and part of that was announcing that there is going to be a Resident Evil 4 remake, which will be interesting. I've never played any Resident Evil game. I think has it only been the one demo or two? I did one of the demos for one of the new games. It wasn't Village. Wait, was it? No, it was the one before Village. It wasn't this most recent one, it was the one before that. That one I did the demo for. But other than that, I haven't. I do have both of the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes. I do have those on my wish list to eventually get, but I would get them and then play them to, do the heart rate recordings. I don't know if I'd try reviewing them at the same time. But I do know that Resident Evil 4, my impression of that has been that it is considered so good a game that there were people speculating that they might never actually try to remake it for fear of pissing people off, that they wouldn't be able to live up to it. We'll see what happens. But I mean, to be fair, now completely different company, but Dead Space is in that same is in that same space. That is one that there's a lot of people that really love that game, that if you screw that up, it will hurt so. Sorry, I'm here, it's safe, why not try to pick up that stuff? Other thing was, apparently as part of the event, it was also announced, revealed, however you want to put it, that the Spider-Man, and I think also the Miles Morales, was that a standalone or just a serious expansion to it? For PlayStation, is actually coming to PC. Which, that's significant. Because does Sony own Insomniac? I don't remember. But it's just one of those... It was so clearly and obviously a PlayStation exclusive that the fact that it is coming to PC would be an indication that, yeah, Sony is actually doing this. That they are actually bringing console exclusives, their console exclusives, to PC. Which is awesome for a couple reasons. One is, hey, that means more good games on more platforms, especially PC, because that's how I play. That's one. The other is, I am of the mind that supporting more platforms like that is a good thing. Now, I'll grant you don't... crap, I didn't actually do that. You don't need to do it right away, necessarily. You like how they got the Epic Games Store, 1-year exclusivity deals? I'd be okay with that. I mean, this would be Sony, not Microsoft. But if they did something of a, 1-year exclusive to PlayStation, and then after that, you got the PC version to come out, I think a lot of people would be happy with that. It's also, and that's right, that's more so what the point was, because I do realize that the point 2 I just gave is kind of what point 1 was. There's also that I could see it improving the quality of the game just by virtue of, hey, you now have to support something else that's very different. Yeah, I mean, and sometimes that can just be a matter of, because you have to think about things differently, that will get you to do it better. It's like, I know that when I've, put together scripts and whatnot, when I'm thinking about it just for myself, I do it one way. When I start thinking about, okay, how are other people going to use this? How are other people going to interact with this? I start making it a lot better, a lot higher quality, more features, better design, all.
Can taste the subtlest things like the taste of a lie. I know you are not who you seem, Scorpio. But I use you all the same because I need you.
Sorry, talk about that too. I hope so.
They say that oil is the bloodstream of a nation, Scorpion. It is needed everywhere, used for everything, and consumed by everyone. Much of Panau's imported Bruneian oil flows into the heavily guarded Emma's Hitam refinery. If the roaches controlled that facility, it would be good for business, don't you think? If you wish to be my friend, Mr. Scorpion, you will assist my soldiers in their little transfusion. Go with my people!
The other piece of news that I know I can talk about, I'll explain that. I promise I will. Is that
You will get
Devolver
me safely
Digital?
into the heart of the facility.
Yeah,
then I will hack
I know.
into the system and override their control codes. It is time to claim this place. And you, Scorpion, you see to it that I get inside alive. Damnation! We can't get through, Scorpio. Help us open the entrance somehow. There is surely a panel on the inside.
Yeah, Devolver Digital shared that they are... Well, they announced the announcement for announcing announcements. I think it's how I put it in the article, in the write-up. No, that's not how they actually described it. But it's Devolver Digital. I have a feeling that if anyone there actually saw what I wrote, they'd be like, why didn't we do it that way? Or at least would be like, yeah, that's right. But what they were announcing that I think it's the 9th, June 9th, as part of Summer Games Fest, they are going to be announcing various things. 4 video game announcements, it specifically said in the press release. Oh, there's somebody over there. I'm gonna grab the health.
we move further into the refinery.
Yeah, I don't know beyond just the whole, you know, that they're going to be announcing stuff, anything. There have been times that there have been press releases like that announcing something that's like, oh, you can expect something for this. Don't tell anyone that. Not this time, but that's fine. I don't mind being surprised. And also it is, I mean, it's Devolver. It's gonna be interesting what they do. It's always interesting. It's not necessarily always funny. Sometimes it's more cringe than funny, but it still is. They always have some fun with it. I know there's more, I just don't know where they are.
Push forward! We are almost there! Clear! Go, go, go! Give him cover fire!
I don't think I ever noticed that before.
Scorpio!
The elites are taller.
Move out! This is it! I'll just hack into their system via this terminal. Scorpio, keep them off my back until I can change the control codes.
Yeah, let me just grab this. Oh, that's not good for me. I think actually I'm fine right now. Even though there are there are Sams around.
Launching missile.
Whoop. There we go. Oh, that's...
It's ours now!
There's one more over here somewhere. There it is. There we go. Now open up the PK. I don't care. So there's one. Just.
Excellent, Scorpio! This facility will add a touch of refinement to our organization.
Ha ha ha. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want more games in the Just Cause series. But maybe we don't always need the puns? Nah, we always need the puns, don't we? Now here's... well... I guess Just Cause 4 is still new enough. So I'm just thinking, would it be one you'd want to reboot? Like a young Rico, remaking the original Just Cause, which I do need to play at some point. He has been getting kind of old, but he's still kind of in an ageless zone. I mean, he's... Just Cause 3 and 4, he visually is older than he appears here. But there's not much difference between 3 and 4. I would say that it's like, okay, he's in his 40s, maybe. Here, he's more likely in his 20s or 30s. And that's about all you got. At least that'd be my estimate. So I do kind of wonder if they were to try to resurrect the series, if they would end up doing that, or if they would just like, nah, we're just doing Just Cause 5. So I was hearing a thumping that was clearly coming from speakers, and I think that it was outside. So it might have been coming in on the mic. I don't know. I don't think it was coming through that.
Reports from the Imasitam oil refinery, where so much of Panau's gasoline is refined from crude Bruneian sludge, suffered a series of terrible accidents and multiple fatalities today. Reports of gunshots from the area are, however, dismissed by police spokespersons as mere hearsay. There has been no organized crime takeover in the area.
Okay, 2 more, it looks like. Well, 2 more things. 1 more pickup. At least. Potentially, I may have also missed blowing something up. Which is always such a tragedy. Here we go. Oh, cool. And the other thing is near. Not over here, though. Oh, it is up on this roof. Alright.
That was
Actually, I'm gonna do that.
fun!
I like taking the military places, whether that's the airports, like where I'm going to, or naval. I just like doing that, and since I have this, why not? And it is an airport, so as long as I don't die there, I'll be able to, get another one of these or something else so I can get to the other location. We'll get back to then do the final fortress. No, stronghold. Sorry, not fortress. I need to be low, because this is definitely going to have surface-to-air missiles. surprised. There aren't any Sams. There should be, though. Oops. This looks like it should be fun. Good for you. I don't know what an autocannon translates to. I don't think there's really any plane that would take multiple hits. Well, not a plane like that. And I could see some bombers, just because some of those are so freaking big that's like, yeah, you can shoot a hole through the fuselage. That's still a small enough portion of the overall plane that's fine. But a fighter, I could believe that. I mean, not that I really know, but I'm just saying I could see that I could see those just being so dense in their design that there wouldn't be as much natural resilience to heavy blows. Okay.
Let's see them communicate now. Let's finish this.
Now to see what we got over here. And remember that X is handbrake, not space. Oh, the last thing I can think of to talk about that hopefully will work out. I don't know. But a couple weeks ago, wrote a review. It's been kind of lingering in editing. Hopefully we'll go live tonight, which is Friday night, because I record these on Fridays. They just go live on Saturday. And yeah, so it's like I'm just gonna go with it. Will go live. I can trust it, and I should be able to trust it. Yeah. So, figure why not talk about it a little bit. So Dolmen is a sci-fi Souls-like, and I freely acknowledge in the review, and in the review commentary, and I also try to explain all of it as well. I don't like Souls-likes. I would never choose to put one into my library, but I mean, hey, you send me a review key, and I got the time, which I did. I will look at it, because I mean, Souls-likes are not a genre that I would seek out for my library, but that doesn't mean that there can't be an example of a Souls-like, that the things I don't like about Souls-likes are not there or somehow addressed, such that I can actually enjoy the game. And there was one example of that in Dolmen, where it's like, oh wow, this is actually really good, and it helped me really understand what it is about Souls-likes that I so despise. It's like once you see something done right in something you generally don't like, it helps you understand why it is you don't like it. You know, kind of that kind. It was that kind of experience. Unfortunately, it seemed almost like an accident. I think might be not a completely inaccurate way to put it, because it only happened once. I can talk about that a little bit. So, as I said, I don't like Souls-likes. I don't like the whole, hey, let's punish the player for failing when the reason they failed is because they just don't know what they're doing because we're not telling them what to do. I really hate that. And also when it's combined with the punishments are, you know, pretty big. I mean, if I die in this game, I need to go back to wherever I was. I don't spawn in nearby necessarily. I mean, I might, but that's not in any way a guarantee. You know, it takes me some time to get back. I don't remember if I lose any money or not, but I don't really use money, so that's irrelevant. Whatever is destroyed remains destroyed. So it's like, you know, the punishment is more just time and embarrassment to a degree. But it's, you know, that's it. And that's, you know, the case for a lot of games. Some games, they also punish you by, you know, like, taking some money away. But it's not that bad. Was Souls-like, how it strips you of your whatever experience you haven't spent, that's rather annoying. And also the whole, you know, main mechanism to heal is also one that restores all enemies. Not bosses in Dolmen's case. You need to respawn those individually and, you know, with intent. But it still is, you know, just, I really don't like that. But what ended up happening at one point in there was I was at an area, and this, by the way, I was already broken. The game already broke me, where it's like, no, I don't want to keep playing this. That happened in, like, part 2. Okay? And I ended up doing 7 parts, because I decided, you know what? I'm not having fun. It's not enjoyable for me, but I'm reviewing the game. I'll give it a fair shake by deciding it's Saturday. I'll keep playing today and tomorrow. I keep playing over the weekend. Wherever I stop, Sunday evening, that's it. That's where I will write the review from. Ended up being 14 hours, okay? And I made that decision at like hour 3 or 4. So I put another 10 hours. I don't care if somebody's like, oh, you should always play the full game. It's like, no, I don't like the game. I don't like the game genre. Okay? I put in more time than's reasonable for that, when you consider that. So I really don't care if somebody's like, oh, you need to, and it's also, what more is going to happen in however much was left that's going to make me be like, oh, suddenly the game is wonderful. That's not going to happen. And I'm not saying that as a nothing's going to redeem the game in my eyes, but that's not how game design works. You don't suddenly reach a point where it's like, oh, now it's a good game. The first, you know, 10 hours were just crap, though. It's like, that's a bad game. Yeah. But what happened later, where it was actually fun, and then ceased to be, was I encountered a boss, and it was, you know, kind of kicking my ass some, mainly because, and this was definitely one of those, I just didn't understand what was going on, and the punishment was enough that I was already broken at this point, so I didn't want to just keep doing it. So I decided, alright, I'm just gonna go back, explore, and farm some. Which, even at that point, I knew farming, is it just, it seems like this is just a condition for a Souls-like. Farming has to be not only boring, but not rewarding. Like, it's not actually a reasonable strategy to farm in Souls-like, it's like, no, you actually have to kill the bosses that you're supposed to be at to get reasonable experience. Feels like that's just a thing. Well, this boss I couldn't do, so it's like, screw it, I'll just, you know, go farming, go exploring, because I'm also thinking, and I don't mind admitting this, that if I do this, oh, I remember being up. Okay, that if I do this, it's more time spent in the game that's getting me closer to Sunday evening when I don't need to play it. Okay, I mean, I don't mind being honest about that. I try to be transparent with my reviews anyway. I don't remember if I said that in the review commentary, but as I'm exploring, I find this alternate path that literally gets me around the wall. Well, sort of. It gets me past the point of that other boss that was really hurting me. It got me past that. I think I still needed to do that there was still a hard progression block from that, but it wasn't, it was still, it gave me the ability to progress, which is the larger point I'm trying to get to. Because that, I realized, that's what I really hate about Souls-likes, is that you're not able to progress. They lock out progression in them. With very hard progression blockers that you just can't do anything about until you beat them. And the first one that I ran into, the one that broke me, to be fair, was right to be a hard progression block because it was in the end of an act. I can't fault that. Though that design was crap. Seriously, the design of that first of the Act 1 finale boss is crap. But eventually I got through that, and I'm here in the. But I know I'm just like rambling and getting tongue-tied. So it's like, all right, fine. I'll just go exploring. I end up finding this other path that gets me past that, as I said, but it also has its own boss in there. The thing is, this boss was a variant of one I'd already beaten. Actually, the first boss in the game. So I do that, and it's like, this is approachable. I can deal with this boss. It's actually fit. It was relatively different, but it's still, I felt comfortable with it, was able to deal with it. And then I, kept going, so I got the experience from that. I keep going. I'm now getting the experience from the fewer enemies that I'm encountering along this path than in other locations. I mean, it's like, it was awesome. I was actually progressing, and I don't remember. I think it was also part of that. I just don't remember exactly how it was I got it. The parts for a new ranged weapon, that was very nice. I like that ring. And so now I have that. I go back to the other boss, and not only did I manage to defeat it, I think I actually still did die to it once before, but I ended up seeing something that I hadn't seen before, which was the actual layout of the map. Because it seemed like it was just this one very small spot and it could fly up and around. It wasn't obvious to me that there were other locations that were connected by bridges. But now I see that, and now that I understand that I have this nice ranged weapon, the ranged weapon is important because the enemy can fly. That boss can fly, and there's also, you're moving between the different platforms. I ended up killing that thing without even taking any damage. That was awesome. That felt very satisfying, very rewarding. But, and I write so much in the review talking about this, how that was, it clued me into what I actually want out of a Souls-like game that so often Souls-likes explicitly prevent, it seemed. I had a path for progression. I took this alternate route, found stuff that it made me stronger, and then I could come back to the thing I didn't like and was able to beat it because I was in a better position. I'm not really aware of Souls-likes doing that. And I know someone like, I don't know Elden Ring, but it's like someone say, oh, well, the Souls games, they're like that. It's like, yeah, I remember playing Dark Souls. And I also remember that at one point, because I'm exploring, I end up, going a different direction, and I end up in an area that's like mid-late, well, not early late game, late mid-game, something like that, where it's like, in no way am I prepared for this. But no, I can just walk on into that. That's not what I'm talking about here. Dolmen is fairly linear. It's not terribly open, but it's, for this one section, had two parallel paths. You still needed to do one of them at least to progress. The one I actually took, the one that I found and took, might not have been necessary for progression. But it still was this other path that I could take and be rewarded and find some satisfaction there, have some fun. And that's what I write about in the review concerning this stuff, is that that's a design I would love to see. If you could have these two parallel paths where they're different enough that somebody that isn't comfortable with the challenge on one can just do the other, find that one comfortable, get strong enough, and then come back and do the one that they were uncomfortable with, because now they're stronger, they can handle it. That, I think, would be great. That only happened the one time in Dome. But still, that in one recording, which I think was like 2.5 hours, I don't think it was 3 hours, it might have been 3 though, I ended up killing 3 bosses. One of them was the variant of the first boss, as I mentioned. The other was that boss that I ended up defeating without even taking damage. And then the third one was actually the Act 2 finale boss. I didn't even... it's like, I'm just exploring. It's like, okay, no, there's a boss here. Alright, fine, let's just go up and at least see what this is. And I managed to beat him. It legitimately surprised me. I did not think I should have won that. But I did. And part of the reason for that boss was he was actually competently designed. And I can explain what I mean by that, because that does sound harsher than it might be meant, than I might really mean to be. He was competently designed in that while he was powerful and he was durable, he also, you could read him. He properly telegraphed things such that you could pay enough attention and manage stuff, and manage it. The annoying thing is, Act 3, so I beat this guy, and now I have access to Act 3, and what am I encountering? I'm encountering base enemies, just the normal things that don't telegraph that well, have way more health than a base enemy should, and do more damage than a base enemy should. Yeah, so I found myself in a situation where the boss to get me here was easier than the trash boss. I hated that. And there's so many other things in that. And when I say I hated that, I mean I truly did not enjoy that. I'm not like saying pure hate there. But I mean there were. So it's like, yeah, I got problems with the gameplay design, but I knew that would be the case going in because I don't like Souls-like. There were other things as well, some of the crafting design and such, where it's like, it just made no sense. Like, why would you do this? Like, you can, for the gear, with the armor, you can craft multiple tiers to that, so there's upgrades there. And as you craft things, you can slot in bonuses that, think of them like charms or, well, just bonuses to improve the stats, right? Well, you can only do that when you craft them. But it's still, you have, for the armor, multiple tiers, so they improve that way, and they improve because you can put these bonuses in when you craft them. You can't go back and change. You can't do that for weapons, though. Weapons have no tiers, and yes, you can put the bonuses in, but that's it. There's nothing more to it. You can't, if you have like a specific sword that you like, a medium sword, so not a long sword that takes 2 hands and is slow to swing, and not something that's like a short sword, really fast, but one that's in the middle where it's average length, average speed, stuff like that. It seemed like there was only one of those that you could have in the game. But there were 2 of them, but like one was ice, the other was fire, so there really was one. That was it though. There was no additional variation to that. Well, there wasn't a third variant because there's actually 3 elements in the game, and there wasn't an upgraded version that could do more damage. No, it was just those. If you wanted to make it better, then you had to. You'd have to craft them again and put in. Whoops. And put in different bonuses, but the bonuses only get so good. So it is basically, yeah, there's a hard cap to any weapon. And technically they're there from the beginning. Because that's what I was just talking about. I had that at the beginning. I started with that. It's like that. Well, I think I started with it. It's definitely an Act 1 weapon. And in theory, if I got epic level bonus materials to put in there right away, that's it. It will never be stronger than that. The only way that I could do more damage with it would be to like upgrade the skills for myself that would increase damage. But none of those happen to be the ones that you need. Hang on. So that you can equip better armor. Those are different. I mean, it just felt like a constantly, oh, you'd have to, you know, make a choice between these things, but it's like, yeah, it's not really a choice. Because if I can survive long enough, I can make up for the fact that I don't do much damage. So I need to upgrade the armor, but that also means then that I don't gain the satisfaction of doing more damage and killing enemies quicker. It's a really terrible decision to have to make there, but it also was a, it's clear this is the decision you need to make. At least to me, it was clear I had to go with making sure I could equip better armor. There's also the issue that, come on, brain, turn over. The Act 2 armor was never better from what I could see than Act 1. It's like I had, Tier 3, the highest tier, Act 1 armor that I had put decent bonuses on, and that was better than what the Act 2 armor was. So it's like, why would I even bother? Why would I bother with the Act 2 armor? That's gonna take so long to actually get the materials I need to equip it. Well, to make it. Has much higher, significantly higher skill checks to equip it. Okay, you know what? This isn't... I need to run. Yeah, I mean, it's like, this is, like, terrible. I mean, it's like, who the hell balances that way? Act 2 I mean, I can understand the Tier 1 Act 2 armor not being better than well-upgraded Tier 3 Act 1. I can understand that, but even, like, the Tier 2, I'm looking at it, it's like, even if I put in very good bonuses on this thing, it's still not gonna be as good as the Tier 1. Sorry, the Act 1 armor. It's like, it basically it read to me as, yeah, this is just cosmetic. Why is it locked behind Act 2 then? I'm saying it really did not make sense to me as I'm being rewarded for my progression and for my collecting the resources. And that's a problem. I consider that a problem. So yeah, in the end, I decided on a 1. It would be for the game, which just I'm always gonna explain them. That is a category, not a score. So -1, 0, and 1 are failed to recommend. But 1 is flavored towards recommending, which is 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And I decided on 1 because, I mean, it's 1 is like, yeah, it has weaknesses such that it's really not that much fun, but I can see it being fun. I can see potential. And it's like, I think that for somebody that actually enjoys that kind of game, that they could have a lot of fun. I do genuinely believe that. well, okay, not necessarily a lot of fun, but that they could enjoy. Except, well, okay, no, that's what a 2 would be. A 1 is I had no fun, and I kind of don't think many other people would, but there's the potential there. They could fix things up and it could be better. But the main reason why, and I know I screwed up this, the main reason why I'd go with a 1, even, I think that would be true even if I did enjoy Souls-likes, is because of the crafting situation. That is just so bogus to me. It's so nonsense, so absurd, that I think, even if I enjoyed the genre, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't enjoy that game, because, like, where's the reward here? I mean, I can understand. Well, no, I don't. I take that back. I don't understand people that enjoy the punishment of Souls-likes. But setting that aside, it still is. I can understand the concept of the greater the challenge, the greater the satisfaction. I just think that you can't say that Souls-likes are still challenging. I think that they push beyond what's reasonable there. And also the hard progression blocks make it hard to just enjoy, to be able to just play and enjoy, because, like, I can't do anything, I'm too weak to do anything, stuff like that. But even if it's like, no, that's all good with you, I still think you'd be like, yeah, but the crafting, this sucks. How do I get stronger here? I can't just farm and be in a better position. I can't just say, hey, I finally, by happenstance, now I'm able to craft this stuff, and won't be a nice upgrade. It's the Act 2. Wait, no, it's not an upgrade. Why did I even bother with this? That's not a good thing. And that is enough for me to be like, yeah, I think even if you enjoyed it, well, even if you enjoy that Souls-like, you'd still be like, nah, this isn't good. Yeah, so it sucks that it's taking so long for it to come out, but I mean, I'm sure the editors are just busy. Normally my stuff doesn't need much editing, but as I said, they're probably just busy. There's one other thing I could talk about, but I shouldn't, because I have no idea if that could ever go live. Let's just say I've continued to make tweaks and improvements.
That'll come in handy.
And actually you can see some. Just not what they. Well, yeah, that's true. You can't. I've made improvements to the performance data applet, so it better supports like being able to work with a list of data. Well, as in multiple data sets. So, for example, Dying Light 2 performance analysis and the Dolmen data, you could just have in the list, select between them, hit a button, and have it load up. I made a number of changes to improve that capability, and the thing that I don't know if everything will ever come from it is I then actually did go through and do all that. I went through all of my, well, I went through all the old data that I have, because I do still have all of it. Oh, there it is. And got it kind of prepared for working with the applet, but I've got no idea if that can ever see the light of day. It's just, the applet, yeah, all that code I've made open, but the data might be considered proprietary and therefore it can't be shared. But it still is, to me, that's something that I wanted to be able to do. I wanted to know that I could have that work. And it is kind of like what I said earlier when talking about the Spider-Man, the PlayStation Spider-Man coming to PC, that sometimes just by working towards more than the one thing, by working towards PC, not just PlayStation, that could, in theory, lead them to do things better. By taking the time to do what I did, to figure out, okay, how can I package up this data so that I can then just have it on a list and select from that, it made me make changes that improved the whole thing in my... So, yeah. Even if nothing comes of it, it's there.
Scorpio, you kill for me and make me happy. So I do not ask what you are really doing here in Panau. One day I will find out. It is perhaps the day I will kill you, no?
I'd hope not.
There is a valley nearby, Scorpio. They call it Limba Firdaus, the Paradise Valley, as it once held a place of worship for the local tribes. Today, it houses a facility for the cultivation and manufacture of a most exquisite narcotic, so the name still applies, I think. Knowing its worth, the military have the facility heavily guarded. I need you to help my loyal soldiers claim this paradise for the roaches. Let them bring you there!
You have to get me to the inner temple so I can hack the transmitter and jam the distress signal. Now go,
Wait,
roaches!
it is this
and
way, right?
Scorpion, bring me safely to the far temple!
Enemy sighted! All available units advance!
Hey, thank you.
You got it! Okay, move out!
I'm ready, guys. Bring it on.
Move out, roaches!
Seriously, you have to go through here? You know, guys, when you got a bodyguard, it's generally best if you stay near them. I'm just...
Hostile spotted! Attack! Attack!
Oh, I just remembered something else I can talk about. EA announced the next Star Wars Jedi game. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, I believe it is? Yeah, I've yet to own and therefore play Fallen Order. I do want to get that though. I'm actually thinking I'm gonna watch to see. You know, I'm gonna wait a bit before doing it. But the Epic Game Sale, the current Epic Game Sale has it on discount, and also there's a 25% off coupon. So I think I'll pick that up and do a couple other games. Oh yeah, I'm thinking about the Darksiders Genesis and what's that third one?
There, the temple! Claim it! Yeah! No one messes with our
I can't remember
roaches.
what the third
Now
one.
Move on!
There's a third game I had wished list, and it's like, yeah, I can do that one. Yeah, just can't think of it. Yeah, I think I'll wait just in case. I mean, it's unlikely, but just in case, like the final free game happens to be the
I'll hack into the radio transmitter.
any of the ones I'm
Cover my
interested
ass, Scorpio.
in purchasing.
This might take a while.
As I said, though, that is very unlikely. Come on, there we go.
Fight them all! Just need a little more time. There! No more reinforcements! This place belongs to the roaches now!
Alright. So just need to 100% this area, and I'll be done for this part, and I can focus on the mission, the agency. Come on now.
Good work, friend. This compound will serve us well.
Oh wait, where? There it is. There's still some stuff to destroy, so I should actually do that. Because I think there's still stuff to destroy. So I should at least make sure I know exactly where it is. And not let it spawn. Yeah, I do consider it a shame that in Just Cause 3, these don't have unlimited ammo. They are capped at 500, I believe it is. And I don't recall it being possible to reload them. There is a game. It might be Just Cause 3. I might not be remembering. But there is a game that, you know, you take the mounted gun off, you can actually put it back on the stand and it will be reloaded. I think that actually had a limit in that game, though. But it was still, it's like, you know, you could spend it, put it on there, and then, you know, pick it up and you're good. You'll be full again. But it was like, you couldn't just keep doing that indefinitely. It would even, the stand would run out. I just can't remember what game. Oh yeah, that's right, I knew about it. Alright. Let me I'm down here, the agency mission can be up here. Let's remember. Here it is. Let's try to get up there. I was like, I have the helicopter open.
That was fun!
Why not do that to actually end this? You know, just get closer to where it is I want to be. Plus, it'll help me remember that, oh yeah, I'm doing the agency missions, I'm not just clearing. Because that is a genuine risk with me, especially because I do this once a week. That I forget, and suddenly I'm just, you know, playing the game for fun again. Not that this isn't fun, but, I mean, this is a game that I could just, you know, sit and play, you know, a few hours at a time. Clearing things out, eventually doing missions. Alright. I'm just trying to think. What else have I got I can talk about? Nothing really coming to mind. There's an article. I at least want to write some of it soon. But that's more of a so I don't forget. Like the introductory kind of portion to it. The date I can do it. because I have the data. I just need to like look through it all, generate all the graphs, and then do something with that, and then write all that up. And that's I've talked about it. I still don't know when I'll get it done, but the one from putting in the new cooler in the test system. Which it is definitely interesting having. I mean, true, the test system always had an air cooler. It's just before was the Wraith Prism, so a box cooler. But, the desktop, the 1950X is on an air cooler. Now the test system is on a better air cooler. It is interesting because the first build I did had a Corsair H50. It was actually a single 120mm radiator. I stuck 2 fans on it, so it was supposed to pull. And man, the pump on that thing was huge. You compare that to the H110 that I had on the second build. That was tiny. That pump on the cold plate was maybe the whole thing maybe an inch tall. The older one, the Corsair H50, which is actually still in use. It's my dad's system, because he just gave him my old system when I did the new build. My old build when I did the new build. That thing's like 2-3 inches tall. The pump on that thing's nuts. It's still going though. I mean, that thing's like 14 years old. Still going. And then also when I built the Threadripper build, I initially had the Enermax cooler on there that had the full-size Threadripper cold plate. But that was also I don't know what they did wrong. It was like they were using the wrong coolant additives or something. I mean, if you look it up, the Enermax Lichtech Threadripper AIOs, they would just sit while sitting, not even being used, would gunk up, and also when in use would gunk up. I mean, it was bad. I had to RMA it, but even apparently the RMAs were like a new version. Even that didn't fix it. So after that, I was running the H10 for a while again, and now I'm back. Now I'm using this air cooler, the Noctua air cooler, and it's like it is interesting because it's like they work so well. I definitely see benefits to, an AIO. It's a lot more compact on the motherboard, but it's still the whole. I don't have to worry about hoses. I don't have to worry about the pump failing. That's really nice. So yeah, it is. I guess one way to put it is this. Not to say that. I mean, I'm sure that there are situations where an AIO is going to be better than a good tower air tower cooler. But I am kind of feeling like, yeah, but you can also control the scenario well enough that you're probably not actually going to get a whole lot that you won't necessarily notice that difference unless you're, like using 12900K that you're letting overclock. Well, that you're overclocking or you're just letting it go up to PL2 for exam period of time. It's like, okay, now you're probably gonna need, a 360mm radiator. But the thing I was getting to is I can see that now, I could see potentially now being like, you know what, go with a good air cooler or go to fully custom liquid loop. The thing is, I don't think I'd ever do that just because I'm lazy. I don't have to do not want to have to deal with the maintenance of draining the fluid and putting new in, or dealing with additives. I'd probably be the guy that would be like, yeah, I just run distilled water, and I maybe once a year I'll think to do something. And it's like, I know that when I'm seeing people talk about it, it's like, yeah, they, clear out their coolant every 3 months, but it's like, yeah, they do that when it's distilled water. If they use the additives, then they may go longer. But it is one of those weird things, it seems, where I've also seen people talking about how, yeah, 2-3 years I've not touched this coolant. still working fine. And other people that are much more religious about, no, every 3 months they will completely disassemble and do that. It's like, it is interesting how it's one of those niches where you do have the people that are genuinely just interested and concerned enough that it's like, that kind of maintenance, 3-month maintenance, it's just like, yeah, that's just what you do. Why would you not? Versus the just, I want it to just work and work very, very well. Why they would do it. So it is interesting how you can have those there, but I can believe that it's mainly those people that are, no, every 3 months you do it, that are more the face of it, because they're the ones that are most enthusiastic about it. And I'm not, because I know some people would be like, oh, don't you hate those people that, it's like, oh, you have to do it this way. It's like, I'm not even suggesting that the people that do that are like, no, you have to do it this way. I'm not going to that. Because I can definitely believe that there would be some that are that, but plenty that would be like, no, this is just how I choose to do it. I think it's best. You do what is best for you. But it's like, they're probably the face of the community in some ways, because they care the most. I mean, it's like, with the custom keyboard stuff, that I do wish I do want to do more with it, and I know what I want to do with it. I just don't feel like ordering the parts to do it. There are windmills I can destroy over here. I'm going to do that. At least, unless I've already destroyed them. Which is possible. I think I have been through here. It's like there are some people that, man, they are truly obsessive with the keyboard. Oh no, I didn't destroy it. So it's like they will do mods that I would never do the Holy mod, which is you put like an adhesive tape inside of the stabilizers. It's like, I understand what you're doing here. I understand why you're doing that. I will never do that. Because it's like, if you do that wrong, undoing is going to be a pain. And there's such risk for damaging, well, not damaging. It's not like it would be permanent damage. But such risk of it making it worse than if you weren't to do it. Like, high risk, high reward, but the risk is more so just your time, because you'd have to. But it's like, I get the Band-Aid mod, that's gonna be pretty simple. I can and I've done it. I understand, just lubricating the stabilizers. I understand lubricating any of it, any of the components. That all makes sense to me. But I mean, there generally is some of it where it's like, why are you going to this extreme? Alright, we are here, and I also just realized I don't think this actually gets a helicopter. There's a pad, but I don't think it actually gets one. And this one is not going to be here when I come back. Oops. That actually worked, somehow. Alright. 1719, how long? But yeah, because, I mean, it's 1833. Okay, not as bad. So about an hour and 10. Not so bad. If I hadn't stopped to clear out some of the other areas, it would have been better. While I was playing it, so I got an email on the phone, looked at it, it's like, it was clear spam. Very, very obvious spam. But yeah, because, I mean, they're like, they put fiberfill into the cases because, it helps absorb any vibration in there, especially higher frequencies, I would think. But, plate foam, there's the tape, yeah. That I can also, there are people, they now just put, like, blue tape, blue painter's tape. And you do need to use the right tape, because there's some tapes where the adhesive will make such a mess, you don't want to do that. But they just put tape along the back of the PCB, and that helps so much. And it makes sense, because the tape is going to, it's kind of like how blankets will stop a lot of sound waves just bouncing around. It's the same kind of idea, but you just put that on the back of the PCB and it makes it sound so much. Doesn't necessarily, but it can make it sound a lot better. And it's like, there are people, they go over the top with some of it. That they will take what would be like $100 build and they will make it sound so good. And then there's other people that would, spend like $500 on something that, and then, like not invest anything more into it. I personally would rather be on the low end of that, spending. I mean, no, I think I'd actually have spent on some of this stuff, or would have if I had to purchase it all. Because some of the stuff was provided. But I could, see spending like $150 to $200 and doing some work, but not as obsessive as the ones that like, yeah, I'm only spending $100 and look at how awesome this is. But no, I would never do the like $500 stuff. And for anyone wondering, what are you talking about? $500 keyboards, cyberboard, okay? And I get it. That thing has some really neat stuff to it. I would not want that though as my keyboard. I really wouldn't. Also, there's the whole, I'm not even kidding. There are keycap sets. They're like $300. They're keycap. They're $300. To be fair, though, they're also licensed fairly often from what I see, so that drives up the price. But it still is. They're keycaps. That are $300. I'm not doing that. I don't necessarily even like when I spend $100 on keycaps, but at least I can understand those because like these aren't just cheap. Like the keycaps I'm using, the MT3 Skidata, those are they're very nice double shot keycaps. They are. So I can understand them being $100. Technically more, but I can understand that. But $300, I do not understand that. Unless it is like I said, licensed, and it's like you love that. You just want that to be on your keyboard all the time. Okay, that's great. But the people that like collect keycap sets, it's like, why are you doing that? Why are you spending $300 for that? I'm just like, I hate the fact that I have 2 keycap sets. Actually 3. That are just not over there, not being used. I'm pointing at them. You can't see them, obviously. I hate the fact that I'm not using them for anything. It's like, so I've got 2 builds in mind for how I want to use 2 of the keycap sets. A third that it's like, well, I know exactly what I want to do for that. I just would need to get some more parts, and I haven't done that yet. But it's like, I have some of it already. But it's like, I know exactly how I'm going to use those so that I might not use those keyboards very often, those builds very often, but that's what I want to do. I don't get this whole collecting them and then not using them. But I also don't really get the whole having a whole bunch of keyboards that you only use one at a time, even though I'm very much actually going to put myself in that position. Anyway, that's enough rambling. Yeah, I don't think there's I mean, I guess next week will be interesting because the Summer Games Festival have already gone through, along with the Devolver Digital thing. That's part of it. So yeah, I guess I will have more to talk about then. Nothing much else coming to mind though. See you then.